Hey guys, what's up? It's me, llamaarts, as y'all know, and today I'm going to be reacting to a few horror animations. I have been wanting to do them for quite a while, but there's a lot of editing that goes into my videos, as you can tell. It might seem simple, but they do take a lot of time, so I can make them as entertaining for you as possible. Before we start, I want to show you a little gift that finally arrived. This little mini donut pusheen. She's from the dessert collection. Isn't she super cute? She's still got the tags on. I only got her for a $5. I was absolutely thrilled because I did see donut pusheens, but without the tags I wasn't really too happy with it. I've now got the big donut pusheen and the mini donut pusheen, and it's not long before my dessert collection is complete. Look, it's got pink to match the donut and the purple to match the sprinkles. I think it's really cute. Let's get started. Woo, can't wait. Now I know a few horror channels. I'm gonna start with llamaarts. She does amazing animations, and I've actually had quite a few jump scares with her watching her videos, so just hope I can actually get a jump scare out of this. Disturbing true Tinder date horror story.
This happened when I was 17 years old. It's been nearly 2 years since my girlfriend broke up with me, and I was very chewed up about it on the inside. I've called her several times, but it always went to voicemail. I've tried texting her on Messenger since, ironically, we were friends on Facebook, but still, not a single response. As the weeks went by, I became very devastated and was worried that I'd never find love again. My brother told me to just forget about my ex-girlfriend and that it was time for me to move on. He introduced me to this app called Tinder.
Listen guys, from what I know from Tinder, Tinder can be very, very sketchy. I mean, that's probably the only dating app I've never been on. Tinder has been extremely sketchy. I've heard of Tinder horror stories of when meetups have gone wrong, girls are kidnapped and raped and murdered or something like that, and ooh, yeah, I don't know. You think of Tinder, you just think sketchy. Always be on your guard, always be wise. I mean, when I was younger, I was extremely naive. Who isn't when it comes to romance? There's this guy who actually wanted to meet up with me, and he's like, he started showing me. I didn't find him too physically attractive, but I thought he was a sweet guy. I was about 13 or 14 at the time. And he then said, we can meet up in this area, but don't bring your friends. I wasn't going to fall for that bull. So I just immediately cut him up. And when I say cut him up, blocked him. So I just said, sorry, have to go, blocked him. I was kind of naive to letting him lead me on. So yeah. Always be on your guard and don't fall for any stupid excuses like that. Remember, if you're going to meet up with someone off a dating app, it's always wise to take a male or female friend with you.
Dating. I was very familiar with online dating, but never actually done any of it, because there was no way that I even felt like hooking up with some random person I met online.
Yeah.
But I figured it couldn't hurt to try it out, so I decided to give it a shot.
I was like that too.
After I finished setting up my account and was done creating my profile, I just started randomly liking a few of the girls that I thought were pretty. I'm not picky, I just wanted to make sure that I found the right girl for me. A few weeks later, I've had already received my first match on Tinder. Her name was Robin.
Oh, flip.
She had blue hair, freckles, and beautiful amethyst purple lips. According to her profile, she had the same interest in the stuff I was into, and was even around the same age as me. Even better, she lived in the same town as me. By the way, I live in Memphis, Tennessee. We started having a friendly group chat on Tinder, which was going well. Her message said, "You may not know me, but we went to the same high school." I replied, "Are you sure?" She said, "Yeah, I was always the quiet one at the back of class."
Really?
"Anyways, I think you're really cute. We should hang out sometime."
Have to be careful.
I agreed and asked her to where she wanted to hang out, where to meet her, and what time I should be there. She said we'd hang out at her place and meet her at the park tomorrow night at around 9 p.m.
Hey, now that is sketchy in and of itself. You should never meet a guy or a girl after curfew. Like, seriously, I never use that term curfew, ever. And never meet up at night. Like, seriously, never meet up at night. Always meet up in a public place, you know.
I accepted. I got to the park that night at around 9 p.m. sharp. I didn't call her because I didn't want to sound too desperate. Some time passed, and I finally decided to call her to no response.
He's probably the most naive
I also tried
person
texting
ever.
her to no avail as well. It was around 9:30 p.m. There was still no sign of her, and I was beginning to grow impatient. I was starting to think that maybe she wasn't going to show up at all. I sighed and said, "I knew this was too good to be true. She's not even here yet."
Because it might not even be
I'm
a
going
she.
home. I can't believe I came out here this late for nothing. Oh well, so much for online dating. I was about to start my walk home when
I
suddenly...
feel kind of bad for the guy. You know, he's just trying to find some companionship. But seriously, you make really bad decisions here. Do not make the decisions that he's making just off on a whim. Seriously.
I saw a black convertible pull up to my location. The car stopped right in front of me, and the window rolled down, revealing a creepy-looking old man who was probably in his mid-30s. He gazed at me with a weird smile and asked, "You going somewhere, kid?" I responded, "Yeah, I'm just headed home." He asked me why I was out there this late, and told him that I was supposed to meet someone, but it seemed like she wasn't going to show up. He said, "Oh, you must be waiting for my daughter." The man, by the name of Jeff, introduced himself to me as Robin's father, and said that Robin has told him a...
Oh my word, I've seen this before. Yeah. There's no Robin. He was the one controlling the account. It's easy to spot stuff like this when you've watched animations and you've watched stories or read stories in the newspapers like this. It's so easy. I could just snap them up so easily.
Robin has told him a lot about me. He told me that Robin couldn't meet me at the park because she remembered that was the night she had to go to a slumber party with her friends, and she forgot to cancel.
But why would he
told me she wouldn't be home till 11 o'clock, and that's when I knew my night was a bust. He apologized and offered to give me a ride home.
No.
I knew it was going to take too long for me to walk, so I accepted. It was going to be a...
Even if it is their dad, never get in the car. Because they can have bad intentions, and they may not be who you think they are. For goodness sake, just turn around and go, alright? And if this guy starts following you, get his number plate and call the police. Sheesh. Why can't people be this bold and strong nowadays?
He apologized and offered to give me a ride home. I knew it was going to take too long for me to walk, so I accepted. It was going to be a long drive, but luckily I knew all the shortcuts to my house. I told him where I lived and how to get there as I got into the car. After a few minutes, I was feeling tired from being out so late, so I closed my eyes for just a few short seconds and dozed off. Not long afterward, I awoke. Feeling a little drowsy, I rubbed my eyes and realized that I was still in the car. I asked the man where we were, as this wasn't the usual route to my house.
Yeah.
He said, "Relax, kid, this is a shortcut. We're almost there."
Yeah, he's
I
still
asked
in the car
where we
then?
were going, and then he looked at me with some sinister grin on his face and just chuckled. I felt my heart almost explode out of my chest as he did that. I looked down and saw a handgun sticking out of his jacket pocket. I put two and two together and realized what was happening. I told him, "Let me out now!"
Hey, you got yourself in that situation, you get yourself out.
He responded, "No." Then, he put his foot on the accelerator, speeding up the car. I tried to get out, but he had already put the child lock on. It seemed hopeless. I was trapped. There was no way out. To make matters worse, we were driving through a forest area with no cell service. I couldn't even call for help. But I just had to get out. As soon as the car started to slow down, I stabbed him in his shoulder with a pocket knife that I found on the floor.
Good.
He screamed in pain as I was able to turn off the child lock, unlock the door, and run as fast as I could into the woods.
Child lock?
While I was running, I could hear multiple gunshots being fired at me, but luckily, not a single one hit me.
Good. Keep running.
I never looked back because I had the fear of the man chasing me at the back of my mind. I dove behind a tree and hid under a bush. I heard the man yelling, "You can't hide from me! I will find you!" I covered my mouth with my hands and held my breath, trying not to make a sound. Everything was silent for a while, until I saw the man was looking for me with a flashlight. He flashed it past me multiple times. When I heard his footsteps going deeper into the woods, that's when I knew the coast was clear. I ran, using the flashlight on my phone to help navigate me through the dark and scary woods. In hindsight, I knew that was a stupid move, considering the situation. I could hear the leaves crunching and the twigs snapping as I ran, which would also easily give away my position. When the crunching and snapping got louder, I looked behind me and my heart dropped when I saw that the man was chasing me. I ran as fast as I could with the man hot on my tail, firing every single last live round he had in his gun. But thankfully, the shots missed again. "There's nowhere for you to hide," he said.
Animation.
I thought I was going to die, until I heard the man trip over something, and I was able to get away unharmed. I kept running until I was out of the woods and back onto the road. Looking behind me then, he was nowhere to be seen, which means I lost him. I sighed in relief,
and now you lost yourself, mate.
And then I saw a red car driving down the road. I was able to wave it down and told the driver that I was kidnapped and almost killed by some crazy man in the woods. It took a lot of begging, but the driver finally gave me a ride to the police station, and I told the cops everything. Unfortunately, I didn't get the man's tag number, but I gave the police a clear description. After the police had run a search, they told me that he didn't even have a daughter, and that they've been trying to catch this guy for months. As it turns out, he's wanted in several countries for the kidnappings of multiple teenagers and young men. How I managed to escape him is a miracle. The officers kindly gave me a ride home, and I didn't tell anyone what happened except my brother. The man was never found, nor was he ever caught, and they say he's still out there, even to this day, which scares me the most. What's even worse is that I stupidly gave him my address, so who knows if he might try to kidnap me again. Needless to say, my days of using Tinder weren't over after that.
What?
The whole incident just made me a lot more cautious from there on out.
Fine, be cautious, but what the hell? You didn't even get his tag number. That was the
Thanks
most
to Shudder
important
for sponsoring
thing
this.
That would actually prevent him from doing any more harm to his teenagers. I mean, sure, even if this was in the UK and the guy was caught, he'd probably get less than a decade in prison, which shows how dumb the system is. But in America, he'd probably get like 40 odd years. So hopefully he's cool. And also, why the hell would you give him your address? Why? I'd never let my address leak. I would meet in a public place until I actually got to know the person and maybe develop a good relationship with them. Only then would I give them my address. Maybe after about 6 months. I'll give it about 5 to 6 months at the most. Oh, for flip's sake. There were so many wrong errors he made in this video, and he's probably the most naive idiot. Sorry if I sound cruel, but I'm only expressing how idiotic and stupid that was. Mind you, he was probably about 15 or 16 years old, so still young and naive. Flip.